Afternoon, people. I don't even really want to make this video because I'm so disgusted by this turn of events and so disgusted and demoralised by this country, to be honest. But it's important to keep people up to date in case you haven't seen this or in case you're not yet on social media or haven't heard this news. So Mr. Yaxley Lennon, Tommy Robinson, you probably heard yesterday, was being released early from his sentence. Not early, but he'd had his sentence reduced because he had complied with the original contempt of court order, and therefore is being released at some point in the next few days. It's not been determined yet. It could be Friday, it could be Monday, but he's coming out of prison, having spent 7 months in solitary confinement. Well, the Crown Prosecution Service have chosen today, the day after that decision was made, to announce that they are bringing further charges against him, and that he therefore has to now appear, rather than being able to go away on holiday with his kids, has now got to appear in court on the 5th of June, I believe it is, to face charges of harassment. Two men apparently have accused him of harassment and that they feared violence. No further details have been released. Don't know who these two men are. Don't know what the harassment involved, but that sounds a very weak sort of charge to me. Harassment could just be ringing someone up and giving them a hard time on the phone. It could be maybe in the making of a film that he wanted to interview someone and knocked on their door or went to their place of work, and that they have then reported that and said, oh, we were scared that he might have committed violence, and so they've brought these charges against him. If you don't see this as an absolute case of persecution against one man, then you seriously need your head testing. This alleged harassment apparently happened in August of last year. So early August of last year. So they've had, 9 months to bring these charges. They haven't brought these charges. They've sat on them. And then literally the day after it's announced that he's going to be released, they suddenly announce these charges. If that's not a stitch up and a fit up and absolutely done deliberately, then nothing else is. And undoubtedly, if this goes to court, he will be found guilty. Undoubtedly, if it goes to trial, it won't be a trial by jury. It will be a trial through a judge or a magistrate, because in any trial by jury, he would be found not guilty. But trial by judge or trial by magistrate, irrespective of whatever the evidence is, he will be found guilty. Guaranteed. Cast iron certain guarantee. That's how scared the state are. And the really, really concerning thing is that because this is such clear state-backed use of the law, it means they can do it to absolutely anyone. It means they can do it to you, to me, to anybody that they dislike or oppose. They can do this too. They demonstrated that last summer when they accused huge swathes of the country of being far right, when reports that the government commissioned have now shown that that's bullshit, that it wasn't far right whatsoever. But the Keir Starmer stood up and accused huge numbers of people of being far right. And on the back of that, the police arrested loads of people, and then they and the Crown Prosecution Service bullied those people into pleading guilty to very minor offences and put them all in prison. So the government are using the law to persecute and prosecute anyone that opposes them or anyone that doesn't agree with their agenda. It's absolutely clear. And it's really, really worrying and really scary. And it does make you think twice. It does make you think twice. I make these videos all the time, and I'm very outspoken. But I now try and have to watch my words a little bit. I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, I've got a life. Do I really want to be banged up for nothing? Of course I don't. Could that happen? Yes, the way things are going, just for speaking out. I'm aware of that. It sounds absolutely insane. I make silly videos on TikTok. I try and keep people up to date with the news. I try and make people aware of what's going on. I probably tread the line a little bit, but given that we now have a Gestapo instead of a police force, a Stasi type law enforcement division in this country, which is 100% politically motivated rather than actually paying any attention to the law itself, then it's dangerous. It's dangerous times for all of us. And you may well hate Tommy Robinson, and lots of people do. Fair enough, you're entitled to your opinion. But surely, even if you hate him, you must be able to see that abuse of the law in this way, abuse of the legal system in this way, abuse of the authority that the police and the Crown Prosecution Service have, is a very, very dangerous path. Because once it's been used, it sets precedents, and it can be used against anyone. We are sleepwalking into a Big Brother 1984 style state, and it's really, really scary. And I'd like to think that even the usual suspects that come on here and give me stick all the time, even the usual suspects that absolutely hate this man, can see that the state abusing its power day after day after day is a really dangerous place to go. And if you're in favour of living in a democracy, if you're in favour of living under a genuinely fair and fairly applied rule of law, then this is a dangerous place that we're heading. You can't believe that it's just a coincidence that they've been investigating these crimes for 9 months, and literally less than or 24 hours after it's announced that this man is going to be released, they bring further charges against him. And that's just a coincidence. That's just one of those things that happened. Of course it isn't. Only the most moronic person would believe that that's the case. They've sat on this, waiting to see what the outcome yesterday would be, knowing that they were going to hit him with this today. It's completely pre-planned, 100%. So let's see what happens. I can't see him wriggling out of it. I don't see how that's going to happen. I'd like to think that there will be outrage and uproar. I'd like to think that this will be raised at an international and a political level. I'd like to think that pressure, a lot of pressure, will be brought to bear to try and change it, but I don't see that's happening. So sorry for the downbeat tone, sorry for the length of the video, but we are heading into dangerous waters as a country, really dangerous waters. And if you value fairness, if you value the law, if you value democracy, you have to be against things like this happening. I made a video yesterday. Lucy Connolly is in prison for over 2.5 years for putting a tweet out. Her appeal against that sentence was turned down yesterday by a very senior judge, Lord Justice Holroyd. He turned down her appeal against that sentence. He is the very same judge that Lord Ahmed of Rotherham, who was convicted of sexual abuse and attempted rape against a child, he also appealed against his sentence, and Lord Justice Holroyd reduced his sentence by 3 years, and Lord Ahmed of Rotherham ended up having a sentence less than Lucy Connolly. This is what's happening with our law. This is how corrupt our legal system is. Pay attention to what's going on around you, because it could and may well be you next, or me.